Greetings. In the beginning, there was only me, Roger Gewald, Dr. Roger, and this is, and welcome to the Gospel According to Dr. Roger, our weekly program where we try our very, very best to bring you the absolute truth about all the stories that you're hearing about and seeing, all the things you're being told by the media and the government and all the other so-called experts. Now, we're the experts, and we come and we tell you what it's really like. And today, we've got somebody who does that in a really big way. She's so impressive. I love her, June Slater, who's very well known. Many of you probably recognize her name. She began blogging by accident after, as she puts it, discovering the realities of the European Union. She put one post on Facebook and dared to be, as she said, and it sort of grew from there. She runs two Facebook pages now, including UK Politics Uncovered, and she has over 200,000 followers on those. She's got another 200 and something thousand followers on Twitter and 70,000 on YouTube. It's growing and it's growing. She's not special, she says. She says she has no logo, no merchandise, no frill, no introduction music, just her talking. But she does do a great deal of research. That is the key. So do I. I mean, that's what separates the wheat from the chaff, folks. And she can, it's the second thing I strive to do also, condense information into short sound bites and things that people can readily understand. So in all, she has approximately 500,000, something over 500,000 followers, which is really remarkable for somebody sitting up in Northwest England there, who doesn't do television and just says what she thinks. She enjoys, says our June, being rational rather than sensational, but never dull. And we're going to talk about a number of things, but of course, we're going to start with the Chancellor of the Exchequer, our marvelous Rachel Reeves. I think that's where we'll start. So let's begin by bringing June in and saying hello to her. There we go.
Is that okay?
That's more than okay. It's great. You look great. You sound great. How are you?
I'm good.
I've just done a short intro telling everybody about the wonders of June Slater. And I've got them all primed up, so they're expecting a hell of a lot from you. So tell us what you think. Tell us about the state of this country. I've had a couple of guests on yesterday. I had Bruce Anderson, the great political commentator and food and drink critic of The Spectator, who's been around since probably the American Revolution. And I had Lembit Opik before him, another former Politico person. I've asked them and they've told us all about the state of this green and verdant island. And so tell us what you think. But I think you want to start with our favorite character, Rachel Reeves, don't you?
Well, it's timely, isn't it? Because she's just been blubbering her eyes out in Parliament. Several things wrong with this image. She's the Chancellor, man up. At the end of the day, people have gone through an awful lot of hardship because of her legislation, which she seems to be completely immune to. In fact, I bet she's probably immune to bloody pesticides. She's completely detached from real society. And, I'm sorry, it didn't move me 1 inch when I saw her puffed up and crying, because all I thought was, if it's personal, take some time off. If it's work, don't sit next to the PM, sit further down the bench. And if it's work,
sitting next to him would make anybody cry, is what you're saying, yeah?
It'd make me cry. I wouldn't get up for him if it was musical chairs. Never mind running the government. It's, we used to have an old TV program when I was a kid called The Wooden Tops, and it was an animated puppet thing for kids, and they were made of wooden material, and they walk like him, they talk like him. So I just think of them whenever he comes on. And I don't know who the publicists are, but the scripts that they write for people like him and Ed Miliband, trying to make them men of the people.
Ukulele Man, you mean?
Yeah, it's just not working. I mean, he sounds like he's on the Colombian marching powder. He probably isn't, but he's very, very nasal. It sounds as though I can't get any more stuff up my nose, actually, because I'm that bunged up. But I'm sure he isn't.
I mean, we had a discussion yesterday. Somebody was saying he said that he thinks he looks like Errol Flynn.
Oh, that's Starmer. Well, somebody told me that Starmer thinks he looks like Errol Flynn. So I got a picture up of Errol Flynn and I thought, no, probably about the same shape forehead. After that, you're done. You're done, mate. You know Errol Flynn. This man, his charisma bypass was 100% successful. There is nothing to warm you to this man. Even if you plugged him in, you couldn't get him on fully charged, could you? He is so inanimate and wooden, and I don't know how he managed to get married, because I just imagine him on speed dating, sat there. What is it that you like to do? And you just think, not you, off to the next one. No.
Well, I mean, apart from all the personal things, which really anybody ought to be able to be entitled to be the way they are, as far as I'm concerned, but what about what they're doing to the country, how they're running things, what they're doing to all of us?
Well, I think it's time for the British people to sit in what you would do if a plane was coming down, the crash position. I mean, I look at British politics like this because every day there's another revelation of some batshit crazy scheme. I mean, we've got to be careful on YouTube with what you say, but anybody that can think it's logical, and this was instigated by the Tories, to be fair, which is what gets me about British politics.
Yeah.
Everything that the Labour Party are doing was instigated by the Tories. Thanks a lot, you non-conservative bunch. We are sat here today buying gas from Norway. Norway, hello, from the fjords. We have a lot of gas under the sea in Norway. And so what we thought we'd do, kill a few seals and then go out and sell you the gas so we can buy more seals. We sell you the gas from under the seabed where you also have the gas, but you don't get it. So here we are. They're harvesting it from the same seabed we're not allowed to use. That's British policy. That just about sums it all up, doesn't it?
So are we going to have a general election sometime before the next few years?
No, because he's got a wacky majority. The best we can hope for is that they replace Starmer with another duffer. And what's your shortlist? Ed Miliband, Ukulele Man, and Wes Streeting. Now he's a scary boy, he is. This is a guy who only got 540 vote majority to win his seat, and he could be running the country. I mean, he's running the health service currently.
Not our Ange.
Oh, Angela. Yeah. No, she can't even make a mind up which trainer she's going to put. Angela Rayner, no brainer. She's, I mean, that front bench. Have you ever seen an old TV character called Lenny the Lion? It was a puppet. And he used to go, oh no, oh my. I feel like that every time I look at the front bench.
Uh-huh.
And nobody knows who they are. We used to know politicians like John Redwood and Margaret Thatcher and the front bench. We always knew the front bench because they were relatively sensible people.
Yeah, even the old Labour ones were quite heroic in their own way sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Tony Benn makes more sense to me as I've got older than when I was younger because I didn't listen to them.
He warned us. Yeah, he warned us.
He tried, didn't he? He did try, to be fair.
Yeah.
But no, the country's in a bit of a state, actually. And I think we're going through our Biden years, and we have to have this sufferance to understand why we need to make it better. You see, what's happened? I monitor what goes on through my Facebook message box. That is a hive of information. Because,
really?
Yeah. In 2019, when all the pollsters and the media were telling it was neck and neck with Labour and the Tories, I said, no, it isn't. It's not. Labour's tanking support. I look at my messages. Labour voters are going to lend the vote to Boris Johnson because they're so afraid of Jeremy Corbyn because he's so far left. I could see it unfolding. But they're all listening to the pollsters because what people forget is there's such a strong left-wing element in our country that what you really need to do, polling the whole nation will never give you the information that you need. I know that probably sounds mad, but it doesn't. What you need to find out what the apathetic are thinking. You need to find out what those who voted for Brexit are thinking, because they're the silent majority.
Yeah.
They're the ones that don't get involved in politics normally. And then boom, in 2016, they came out, voted, expected to get out, and went back to work.
Yeah.
They're the ones you need to know what they're thinking. You only need to know in this next election, 2029, you need to know what they're thinking. I can tell you what they're thinking now because the message is coming in. A lot of the people who voted for Labour in this last election was a protest vote. It was that to the Tory party.
Yeah.
And the others actually thought, don't forget, he lied. He lied to the pensioners. He lied to the students.
Absolutely.
Small businesses.
Yeah.
So all those people that have been lied to that took a punt on Starmer thinking, well, this is not Corbyn.
This is going to be different. Yeah.
Yeah. Now they know it isn't. The next election will be a landslide for reform.
Well, on my other show, which is called Deadliners and is on YouTube on Sunday evenings at 9 o'clock, we have a regular guest who is a great comedian who calls herself the Intel Lady. And she does a great, I have a couple, some marvelous Trump impersonators, and she is probably the best Angela impersonator around. She's actually opening for Jim Davidson in London next Tuesday at Comedy Unleashed. And so she comes on as a regular, and we filmed, the show is released Sunday nights at 9, as I said, and we film it on Wednesdays. And we filmed it yesterday, and she just did this wonderful routine. She said, and she's got the voice perfect. She said, talking about referendums or referenda or whatever, talking about referendums, we know what that's all about here in the Labor Party, and we know what happens when you actually allow these people to vote. So we just keep it in-house, and that's how it is,
Yeah.
And she really made the point.
They don't want that's one of the big attractions to reform for me, because they will support referendums like the Swiss. 4 or 5 big issues a year, put it back to the public. That way, it doesn't matter which party's in power, because the big stuff like HS2, joining the WHO pandemic treaty, all that kind of thing, would get a vote. But that will only work if you've got an honest media. You need the media to be honest, and they're not. They're disingenuous. The BBC particularly. People go on, well, I watch the BBC. I get my information from the BBC. So I just go, oh, yeah, isn't that channel that gave us Jimmy Savile as a children's entertainer? They can't get past that one, can they?
So what else? What about the economy and Ukraine and Gaza and President Trump? And what else can we talk about? We talked about Starmer and Angela. Tell us your thoughts about some of those issues.
Well, I think that, unfortunately, I don't think we should be weaponizing Ukraine. I think we should be doing what President Trump does and back peace talks. Let
me stop you. Why do you preface that by unfortunately you think that way? What is unfortunate about thinking like that?
It's unfortunate that anyone thinks they should perpetuate war in this day and age.
Oh, no, it's just the way that you said it. You said, unfortunately, I think we should. No. Right. I agree with you. We're wasting huge amounts of money on a war that can't be won.
Can't be won. And they know it. And yet the thing is, what you can always rely on is the EU will always make the wrong decision. They're run by third-rate politicians.
If they can make one. Most of the time, they can't even agree on lunch.
Yeah. And let's face it, when they do agree on it, it'll cost 3 times more than it should do. No idea about budgeting either.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Keir's, wants to shackle up back to the EU. We voted to leave. They're not taking any notice of democracy. It's not the best of 3. It was a vote. It was a once-in-a-lifetime vote. We voted to leave. We could have left on WTO rules, and the EU would have been gagging for a deal, because we're a big customer.
Yeah.
We sit on their beaches, we ski down their ski slopes, we drive their cars, we drink their wine, we eat their cheese, we buy their fashions. what more can I say? We are a huge customer, and we're spenders. We've got the biggest credit card debt in Europe.
Yep.
Who wouldn't want a taste of that market? Of course they do. But unfortunately, we've got people who have got no balls. We've not got any MPs with any balls. We've got Nigel. He's one. But most of them, they haven't got it. Rupert Lowe, he's another one, but he's an independent. So we haven't got a political party. That we've got these faux leaders that aren't real. They're just soundbite people.
Absolutely. I interviewed Nigel, I don't know, it's about a year or so ago, on the question of why we have such rubbish leaders in the West. And he came up with a very good answer. He said, because you used to have people like Truman and Eisenhower, Trump, and others who'd made it. They'd made it in the real world, wanted to put something back, and they knew how to do things. Lots of people compare President Trump to Boris, but he's nothing like Boris.
No.
Boris is an Oxbridge PPE guy, and, said Nigel, the new breed that we have in the West, and the reason we have these kind of people with these sort of results is because they're professional politicians. They're more interested in votes than putting something back, and they really have no worldly experience of turning a business around or saving a this or, that. Whereas I would compare, he said, Trump to Berlusconi. The two of them are tycoons who know how to give customers what they want, who know how to deal with people. Trump is a 40 years of reality TV star. He knows how to work a room. The rest of these, the day that I saw Fishy Rishi, put the knife in Boris's back, and I saw him and Liz Truss emerge, I announced on every channel I could that there is no way either of these people is going to make a good prime minister. That was on the very day. They don't know what to do. They've never done it before. So I thought that was a pretty good explanation from Nigel of why we've got what we've got now.
Yeah, which is why Nigel's popular. When Nigel
Yeah.
emerged in 2019, the country weren't ready for him because they still trusted the Tories, because the Tories wore the badge for Brexit with no reason. And, I've there's photographs of me with Boris. I met him a couple of times and we chatted, and I thought, did I actually get the feeling his heart was in it? But nevertheless, he was the leader of Vote Leave. I volunteered to work for Vote Leave. And that's how I started blogging, really, because when I was out at the weekends in the shopping centres, I could see people were busy, they didn't want to be asked with politics one way or another.
Yeah.
And I thought, in this day and age, surely social media is better. And it was about the EU, obviously. And I opened my laptop up and I stood there and got my video, my camera out, and I went, the EU. You can't even name the 5 presidents without using Google.
It's true.
If you want to get rid of your prime minister, you can vote him out. Tony Blair, do one. Which finger is it? That one. I went, Tony Blair, do one. David Cameron, if only, do one. You can get rid of your prime minister, but you can't get rid of these 5 presidents. And I did a very quick video, and I put it away. And David uses my Facebook page because his is like tumbleweed. There's nobody on it. So he went, is there something wrong with your computer? It says that this video has had 1 million views on Facebook. And I went, there'll be something wrong. Anyway, this video had 1 million views. So I did this campaign called the Do One campaign, where I kept, highlighting different topics. And then I ridiculed the Vote Leave camp, because every time they were that desperate, they were bringing everybody out, Bob Geldof, give us your money now. Give us your money now. And he was so rude to the fishermen. I sort of had a go at him and said, Bob the Knob, I called him Bob the Knob Geldof. You seem to forget that we are very popular across the seas. And I listed all the countries we were popular in. And I did stuff like that. And I just started campaigning. So the online kind of situation.
It's amazing. Without any background or experience, you did all that. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, my husband said years ago, we're in our second home in Austria, and I didn't take any notice of politics, and he was always frowning at something going on, and he kept saying, we're living in strange times. And I used to think, what? And I said, don't get me going in politics. You know what I'm like? I'm like a dog with a bone. So I started investigating. And, I had a house in Austria, pet passport, EX card. I should have been a Remainer. And then when I found out what the EU was about, I said to David, dear God Almighty, this is communism. And he just went, he did that noise that Lurch makes, when he's like, ugh. He looked
Yeah,
at himself, he only just got it. And
yeah.
then I thought immediately, everyone should know. Everyone should know it's communism. So I sort of set one post to public on my Facebook page. I didn't sleep that night. I've set it to public, the world could see. And took a gamble, and I've been at it ever since.
Wow.
450,000 followers now.
That's
So
that's a that's a fun. You got over 500,000 followers on all your different channels. That's amazing. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I used to be a Remainer. I actually studied in Paris with Jean Monnet, the man who founded the original common market. He was
yeah.
my professor, and I watched him found the common market. And I was always a European federalist while I was living in Paris before I came here. And then many years later, some people in the House of Lords asked me to help the Remain campaign. And I thought they were pretty disorganized. Um, Even the party they threw at the end after the defeat was not greatly organized. And then I had occasion for business to spend a few days in Brussels, and um, I had been to Brussels millions of times, but I'd never gone to the heart of the EU and walked around. I just couldn't believe the waste and the BS and the oh my God, it was, and then I just turned into a Brexiteer big time.
The reformed Remainers are usually the best.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. So what about Ukraine and Gaza?
I don't blog a lot about war because it's divisive and people have already made their mind up. They'll sympathise with one or the other. I think as far as Ukraine goes, Trump's got the right idea, which is
Yeah.
to get them around the table. And
Okay.
Boris Johnson went across to Ukraine at the behest of Biden, I believe, and scuppered the peace talks because, before that, Minsk Accord 2 was on the table.
Yeah.
And that peace should be talked about at all costs because it's people's lives.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that the war is only in one section of Ukraine. It's a pretty big country. Kiev isn't really affected. I had a friend who went there for the holidays, and I went,
Well, if they do, you're right about the one sector. I mean, if they do the minerals deal that Trump has dreamed up, which is a perfectly rational thing for back to Nigel's point, for a businessman as opposed to a career politician to think of, you want this, I
yeah,
want that,
yeah,
because you'll have all these American operatives of these giant American companies in the East where the minerals are, which means the Russians aren't going to invade and start attacking American citizens who are
yeah.
working there. It's a genius idea, but he's got to put it in effect. But I think the blow up in the White House was a whole thing set up by Trump, whom I know, and by JD to showcase Zelensky losing his rag and showing how much he actually doesn't want peace.
Hmm. I
Hmm.
think you're probably right.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, I think with Zelensky, I mean, you only have to dig a little deeper and you can see that it's a facade. I mean, how can you have a war zone that's got celebrities flying in, especially when they're wearing white like Richard Branson? You flew
yeah,
like an angel.
yeah,
And, to me, if it's that dangerous, you don't go, dear. You don't go to a war zone. We've got refugees living here that fly home to sort problems out or fly home for holidays. What is that about?
yeah. I mean, we got migrants living better than poorer Brits. So let me ask you this: what can we do for the next few years to wait out Starmer or whoever and company until the next election when they'll hopefully be gone?
First thing to do is to keep your spirits up. because we've pushed an awful lot back, and people forget because there's no money in
Well,
being.
I completely agree with you. I had a case of gin delivered yesterday.
You're on the right track. By now, according to Matt Hancock, we should all have had a health passport, which was digital, which would have been on the road to more control. But we
Yeah,
didn't. We didn't buy into it. We're strange in Britain. We're the only person, or the only nation, should I say, that have dared to leave the EU.
yeah.
And that fighting spirit is in a lot of people. I use my YouTube channel in particular to remind people of all the stuff we've pushed against. The rollout for the booster. Originally, it was 97% for the first lot. By the time the boosters came around, it dropped to 3%. That shows that people are making a choice. They're not all activists. They're not all out making a statement. They make a statement by their actions. Cash is more predominant now in the economy than it was 5 years ago.
I know they were trying to kill it and have a digital central bank currency. All right, so number one is keep your spirits up. What's number two?
Number two is push back in the best way you can without risking your income. If you're in a job that's sensitive, or it could mean you're out of a job, you put your family first. Absolutely put your family
So
first.
what does that mean? Give us an example.
Well, I've
I
got
mean,
people.
it sounds great, but it's a bit like truth, beauty, and justice. I mean, I'm just some poor working stiff at home. What do I actually do?
The best thing you can do is just talk to people. Word of mouth. Let's use the old system. Just
Yeah.
say to people, and it works. You could be on a dog walk, in a supermarket queue, sat in the doctor's. All you need to do is this government, because everybody's going to agree with that. You just need to talk. Open it up and start with small things. Don't overface them. Don't start on about cloud seeding and bloody far-fetched stuff. Keep to stuff they understand. What do people understand? The
Can't you
cost
get
of
in
living.
trouble if you start saying seditious sounding things to strangers?
Well, not really. If up in the north of England, people chat. It's not like London.
No.
If you're in the north of England, I've never stood in a supermarket queue where either the person in front or the person behind hasn't said something to me, even
Yeah.
if it's only those are nice flowers in your basket. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You
Down here in the smoke, you've got to be properly introduced first,
yeah,
If they can even speak English,
yeah, probably a different landscape, but
Mm,
in the north, it's quite easy to do.
yeah.
And people want to join in conversations about, keep it simple. We're paying too much for food. The cost of living is inflation is way more than 2%. If a bar of chocolate is double what it was last year, that's
Yeah.
just common sense. We're paying too much for energy. Why? Use the example of buying energy from Norway.
Yeah.
People use stuff people can get and get them to get engaged in politics and encourage them away from the media, encourage them away from the TV set, tell them
Yeah.
to do their own research, tell them to
Yeah.
start following people. You get a feel for people when you're on.
Okay. Talk. Number three. You got a third?
Keep talking. It's the best weapon, and use your vote. Number three, use your vote.
Oh,
Council
yeah.
elections, keep it local. I think what we're witnessing here is quite historical, and I don't think a lot of people have grasped the enormity of what Nigel Farage and his party have done.
Explain historical. How?
When have you seen the mainstream media take any notice of what is going on politically at council level? They don't.
True. Okay.
They don't. They don't take any notice. It's boring. We're
Yeah.
talking about keeping the drains clear and why slates are coming off a public building. Nobody's
Yeah.
interested. So all of a sudden, people are that afraid of what's to come. They've decided, and they're that sick of watching money spaffed away on idiotic projects like carbon capture, but you can't clear the drains. So various areas in various towns flood every year now. We want action locally. So the only way to do that, if the councils are letting you down, and people don't understand how fed up everyone is. So the council election, Nigel did not think he was going to get 10 councils.
No.
Got
No.
two at best.
Yeah.
Got 10.
I know.
10. That's 20 billion pounds worth of local government spending. Sadly, they're inheriting debt. Most councils are about 1.2 billion in debt because they've spent ridiculously. and they're going on seminars and they're treating themselves to idiotic. The trouble is, now with the 10 controlled reform councils, when directives come down from central government, instead of narrative being accepted as fact, you'll have a set of councillors that will question the narrative. That's all you need, because there's always two sides to any form of science that's delivered as fact. So what's happening now, you've got a prime minister who's going to bed at night, not sleeping, wondering about Nigel Farage. He's not wondering about Kemi Badenoch.
No.
He's not wondering about the Lib Dems.
No.
So if you want to know who's the most effective politician in the country, it's Nigel Farage. Now, people will say, oh, she's drunk the Nigel Farage Kool-Aid. No, I haven't, because I never pin my colours to individuals. What I look at, and the reason I support reform so adamantly at the moment, is because I see the effort that ordinary people have put in. It is a leap of faith to stand as a councillor. You have your life wrecked. You have your life forensically inspected by local newspapers, radio stations. People treat you differently. One council candidate was denied a school place for one of his children. He wanted the child to go to the same school as the other child. They denied it him. It was only because he knew how to push back that he eventually got the child in.
Wow.
Contracts cancelled for people who have businesses. That, you know, that it's hardcore, because they do not want this to survive. They do not want a centre-right party in power. They've had it between themselves for too long.
And you're an advocate of the fact that you think there are too many parties to the right, yeah?
15. Yeah, one or two. Well,
I've always said they're going to eat themselves up. They're going to devour themselves if they don't get together.
Well, you see, I would be dreadful if I had a small party. If I was the leader of a small party, I would immediately get my party comrades round, whatever you want to call them, and I'd say, look, let's be sensible. We're going nowhere, and you're going nowhere. Because I've been trying to get them to work together, making meetings and making phone calls, trying to get them to work together for years. They don't want to know. They're all men. They've all got egos. Don't tell me there's only Nigel Farage with an ego. He's looking like the most palpable ego. The others, I mean, they know they're going nowhere, but they're still out there at the front.
These days, I have never thought, what would it be like if women were running all this shit? You know, I've never thought that as frequently as I do these days.
Well, women will be
some of the wars going on and things. It's almost like boys with toys, you know. And I just
you've only got to look at sports. If you look at how women keep fit and look how men keep fit, men will go to a gym, they'll work on their own. Right? What do women do? They join a class.
Go to a Zumba class.
A step class. They'll join an aerobics class. They'll work on something where they can be together. That ethos is a feminine thing. And that is what could be an excellent catalyst in politics.
Yeah.
What I would do if I was running a small party, I'd say to Nigel Farage, hi, Nigel, it's Joe Soap from the Joe Soap Party. My beliefs are aligned with yours. I want less immigration, more housing, a better NHS. I want less tax. We're agreed on everything. I'm going to dump the badge. I'd like to stand for you as a candidate, because your party and all the publicity it gets is the opportunity for my thinking, my politics to be rocketed to the front and get me a seat. And then when I get in that seat, I can bring my own brand of politics to it, because it's very similar to yours. And then I could grow from there. And you can't do anything until you get into power. We're all howling at the moon here until you get into power.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get into power if you're too right-wing. If you're marching up and down the street with a cross, massive big cross like the Ku Klux Klan, that is not going to attract people to you.
True.
It might attract the right wing that are fed up. But at best, there's only 5 million. There's only 5 million if every single one of them voted.
Yeah.
And you need 13 to 14 million to win an election.
That's right.
I would dump my badge and I would stand for reform, and then I could bring my own brand of politics.
Well, why don't you do that?
Well, I haven't got a party. I don't have a party that I have to sacrifice to.
Well, run for reform.
Well, I think I'm more valuable. My reach is right across the country. So if I stood locally, I'd have to then start concentrating on local issues, and
Yeah,
I would do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'd
Uh,
be,
that's why I don't particularly affiliate because I cover everything and I like to
yeah.
present things in a balanced view and help people to make up their own mind.
Mm,
And the local element, you're right, because you then move into people's sinks and other stuff and, rubbish collection and all the rest of it.
yeah. So that I don't think that's my forte is being able to explain things in an understandable manner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's your trademark. June, well, we're out of time, but thank you
Right.
very much indeed. It's been a pleasure. Folks, I told you what she was like. It just never stops. This just goes on as long as you can keep listening. Speaking of Nigel, he and I did the budget one night for a television station, and we were in the Working Man's Club in Doncaster, and I just couldn't believe it. I mean, there must have been a few hundred people there, and they loved us, and they just stayed in the bar all night. And you know what? Nigel made every single person feel like they were being spoken to individually, that they were the only one in the room, and he stood doing that there till the early hours of the morning. And I mean, that's kind of what June is like. She will go on these issues forever and ever and answer every question you have. Unlike politicians, she doesn't stall and obfuscate and, oh my God, we're certainly getting so much of that these days. But thank you all very much. And we'll see you again next week on the Gospel according to Dr. Roger. And we hope you've enjoyed tonight. And June, thank you very much. We will have you back again.
Thank you.